Hello and welcome back, winners. Welcome to episode 15 of the Outside Bet. Long weekend of football action, another massive run of winning bets on the free bet podcast. We've got another one at the end of this episode, as we always do. It's a new week, and a new outlook, and it's a super quick turnaround for those of us who bet on the Premier League, which is most of you I know from your correspondence, and that's where the free bet will be, of course. And the free bet is in tonight's game. So I won't keep this podcast too long. I'm outside, it's a beautiful day, and I'm walking my dog, and I'm heading down the pub for a pint of Guinness while I process this video. As ever, please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please click the bell icon so you get these bets when they come out, like today's will come out, and it will only be a matter of about 4 hours before kickoff. So if you've pressed the bell icon and you subscribe, you'll get the notification straight away, which will give you a chance to bet. We have had 5 winners in a row and then a loss. As we're going for around 60% win rate on evens bets, we'll take 5 and then 1. The loss was Eintracht Frankfurt. They drew at home to Wolfsburg, and we thought they'd win the game. It doesn't impact the strategy too much. It was just a bad day for the subscribers because we had a bad Sunday, but the people who listen to the pod and the people who are patrons of the pod just had carried on the winning. It was a strange weekend, actually. The Sunday was very odd. There were odd results all over. I'm not sure whether it's the time of the year in the Premier League, whether it's the pressure of the matches, whether it was the fact that we're starting the midweek cycle. I don't know what it was, but it was slightly odd the Sunday. Makes us a little bit cautious going into this week, but we still found a bet today and a bet in Brazil for tomorrow, maybe 2 actually. We've got fixtures Brazil and Premier League, and that's enough for midweek plays. If you want to have a quick look at the leans and the values, we've got value in Fulham, Bournemouth and Newcastle, all on supremacy markets. And we've got in goals, we've got values on overs in Bournemouth and Newcastle. Let's have a quick review of what happened at the weekend. And the mainly was the success of the bets. You know, the success of the big bet on Saturday, the Brentford game we've already covered. But if you look at Sunday, where we had the lean towards Chelsea, which is a very unpopular bet because everyone thought Arsenal would win. But actually, it just goes to show how strong the model is. You know, the model was great. The model was brilliant as well on Brentford, Man City on overs. Obviously, we got carried out by Everton, but then Newcastle's bet win a 4-1 away was just a complete model breaker as they haven't won away all season. Palace didn't perform against Man United, and it just looked like shocking tiredness, didn't it? Anyone who's watched the highlights of that game will think to themselves, well, that's a bit of a concern. And if we turn that forward to tonight, you know, you're going to see some similar trends to be a little bit wary of. You know, Fulham are playing Man City. That could be anything from 3-4-0 Man City to 1-0 Fulham. That's quite a big range. I mean, our models show Fulham as being strong here, stronger than the bookies say. Likewise, you know, Bournemouth beating Everton, brilliant, should happen. But then they blew 2-goal lead at the weekend. So it's a bit of a tricky one. As I said, the free bets in the Newcastle game, that's fairly easy to predict. Tottenham are just absolutely shocking at the moment. Newcastle are amazing. They're amazing at home. They were amazing at the weekend. They're starting to score. They're getting their mojo back. And they got Luke and they got Miley. And that's another brilliant thing. If we cast our eyes ahead to tomorrow, we're going to do some focus on this tomorrow, so we won't spend too long on it. But if you're looking at some overs punch, you've got Arsenal playing Brentford. Brentford seems to be a high scoring game every week. You've got Leeds Chelsea, which looks like it'll be overs because the market's so low. And then Liverpool are playing Sunderland, and we don't even know what Liverpool will turn up and whether Mo will turn up and whether Mo will be picked to play. Casting our eyes ahead to Thursday, Man United are playing West Ham. I mean, that should just be a regulation Man United win with loads of goals, shouldn't it? They're easily strong enough to score lots of times there. I've got the Brazilian slate in front of me. There's a few overs tilts and a couple of supremacy tilts, which we'll highlight tomorrow, as we've had a bit of a big bet go out to our subscribers who get every bet on the WhatsApp today for those games. The value should hold for tomorrow, so we won't mention it. And just before we get on to the free bet, I thought I'd highlight the difference between the leans and the bets. Remember last week I gave you out all of the leans and all of the bets on Thursday for the Saturday's fixtures. I've totaled them up to give you a bit of a track record, and the leans returned 10 out of 22. Now, that is less than 50%, and that's why we don't bet on all the leans. Because we're betting evens bets. 10 out of 22 came in. I realise it's a sample size of 1, but it could be considered a sample size of 22. and just under 50% is losing. So if you trade those markets with skill, you will have a winning record, and if you don't, you won't. The bets, however, were 7 out of 10. Again, tiny sample size, but it shows that if you're winning 7 out of 10, but you're getting evens, you're having very good weekends. And that's why the people who listen to this podcast had a very good week last week, because we had 5 in a row, one losing one, all at evens. Anyway, it's a beautiful day. I don't want to get in the way of your days. Let's have a quick look at the timestamp. It's coming up to 5 minutes 30. So the timestamp on the big bet, 5 minutes 30. And welcome everybody to the people who jump forward to the big bet. Please like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Click the bell icon, otherwise you'll miss last minute ones like this that come out only about 4 hours before kickoff. If you're listening on the podcast, I don't know when that's going live. I think we're in discussions. It should go live at some point this week. But if you're listening to it on the podcast, please give us a 5-star review. We're focusing on the Tuesday night on the Premier League, as you would have heard if you listened to the main podcast. And you knew we weren't going on Spurs. I think that's fairly safe to say. They are abysmal at the moment, and their heart is not in it. I always say that the most important thing a manager can get is buy-in, and there's no buy-in. And that means the players don't look like they want to play, and that means it looks disjointed. Newcastle home win on the Asian handicap is today's free bet. Now, I really know what you're saying, that Newcastle home win hardly sounds like rocket science. Well, we can still get even money on the 3/4 of a goal handicap. That means minus 3/4 of a goal to Newcastle, which is effectively, if you don't know, it's a minus half a goal and minus 1 goal combined bet, which makes a minus 3/4 of a bet. But it's a super interesting market because it means that if Newcastle win by a goal, we return half a big bet. And if Newcastle win by 2 or more, we return a whole big bet, i.e. the evens bets. So it gives you a return in a 1-0, but says you expect it to be a bigger win than that, which I think we do, because our model is showing a 1.5 goal supremacy for the home team. So it just gets into our value bet category. Now, when the value's gone, never chase the bets. I don't know what the market's like live today, but it's worth investigating. There will also be value on all the other things that spin off home wins and home goals. And so have a look at your bet builders, have a look at whatever you like. There's value out there on Newcastle. Tottenham look appalling. Under the lights at Newcastle with that atmosphere at St James's Park that we all know and love. Can't be beaten. All that remains to be said, as ever, is good luck, goodbye, and we will be back tomorrow with a couple of bets, hopefully, on the Brazilian Serie A, which is coming to an end. We'll glance over Thursday's fixtures and hopefully find at least one more free bet there. So that's all there is to be said. Be safe, be nice, everyone, and love you lots, and catch you on the very next one of these.